El sol salió anoche y me cantó.
He says the sun came up last night. He says it sang to him.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Good morning, slaves, and welcome to another edition of It's the End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine, the show where we roll our own. I am your host, the Stimulator, and you know the end is near when shit starts falling out of the sky. A meteor crashed near Lake Titicaca in Peru, creating a crater 60 feet wide and making more than 200 people sick.
This man says local residents want whatever it is analyzed. He says it's not just people who are sick, but animals too. He says one bull even died.
People reported vomiting, nausea, and skin lesions shortly after the meteor crash. Conspiracy theories abounded following the crash as to what the fuck hit the Earth. Was it a satellite? A Chilean missile attack? Or was it... Yeah, I know you heard the latest Bushism, but that shit's too funny. Let's hear that motherfucker one more time.
As yesterday's positive report card shows, children do learn.
Had enough?
By the end of next year, America and other nations will set a long-term global goal for reducing greenhouse gases.
That sorry son of a bitch had Condoleezza rustle up the leaders from the worst polluting nations to come up with a plan to stop global warming. Wait, wasn't that what Kyoto was all about?
Climate change is a global problem, and we are contributing to it.
No shit, Sherlock. But their efforts might not come soon enough. Scientists say that the polar ice caps are melting faster than predicted. Robert Carell, chairman of the Arctic Climate Impact Assessment, said,
"We have seen a massive acceleration of the speed with which these glaciers are moving into the sea. The ice is moving at 2 meters an hour, on a front 5 kilometers long and 1,500 meters deep. That means that this one glacier puts enough fresh water into the sea to provide drinking water for a city the size of London for a year."
But the ice caps are not the only thing suffering from shrinkage. Hundreds of people posed for a photo in front of a glacier in the Swiss Alps, butt naked.
All these people came in order to speed up decision makers because climate change needs immediate action now.
I really doubt they came.
Come on now. Smoke and mirrors, stripes and stars, stolen for the cross in the name of God. Bloodshed, genocide, rape and fraud, written to the pages of the law, good law. The cold continent latchkey child ran away one day and started acting foul. King of where the wild things are, daddy's proud, cause the Roman Empire done passed it down. Imported and tortured the workforce and never healed the wounds or shook the curse off. Now the grown-up Goliath nation holding open auditions for the part of David. Can you feel it? Nothing can save you. You question the rain, you get rushed in and chained up. Fist raised, but I must be insane, cause I can't figure a single goddamn way to change.
One thing I didn't mention in my New Year's revolutions is quitting smoking. I am ashamed and embarrassed that I'm part of the millions of dumbasses who suck on that nicotine tailpipe on a daily. My gramps died from lung cancer due to smoking that shit. Well, goddammit, I'm done. Yep. From this day forth, I'm a fucking quitter. But there are more than health reasons to stop sucking on that nicotine cock. A real motivator for me is that I will no longer give money to those redneck motherfuckers who run the tobacco industry.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
Did I mention that Al Gore's family used to run a tobacco farm?
The evidence was laid out on the connection between smoking cigarettes and lung cancer. We kept growing tobacco.
The evil douchebags that run the tobacco lobby funnel millions of dollars to candidates on both sides of the aisle through political action committees. So every time I put down $12 for a packet of American spirits, yes, I said $12, I am furthering the right-wing agenda of these inbred drug peddlers. To make matters worse, these tobacco conglomerates own companies that make food that you and I love, including those delicious Boca burgers. Oh, so that's how they get that tasty, smoky flavor. Speaking of smoking, I had a smoking hot lead to interview Osama bin Laden, but when I got to the cave in Afghanistan, all I found was a copy of Loose Change and a dialysis machine. But never fear, through much wrangling I was able to secure an interview with the second most wanted man in America. You might have not heard of him, But that cameo cookie Al Gonzalez would like to see Mark Emery rot in jail for the rest of his adult life. Hey Mark, how the fuck are you?
Well, I'm feeling great today. I'm about to have a bong hit, which we'll do on camera, and I'll feel better then, but I'm feeling fine today.
Mark Emery, why are you the second most wanted man in America?
Well, the DEA is trying to paint me as the most dangerous drug trafficker and drug rebel in all of North America. I'm on Alberto Gonzalez' top 46 drug trafficking kingpins worldwide. The DEA on Lou Dobbs on CNN said I was responsible for more marijuana than anyone else in the American criminal justice system, and I'm more dangerous than any gangs, including Hell's Angels or any Asian triad gangs here in Canada. But when they busted me here in July 29th, 2005, they only found $12 in my bank. There were no guns, no gangs, no drugs. I mean, for a drug lord, no drugs, that's pretty substantial. And so they found nothing.
So what the fuck do you do?
The only real act is to send cannabis seeds, which don't contain any drug quality, over an invisible border, invisible line, the U.S. border, to consenting adults. It's not like there's a complaint here. Nobody has ever said, oh, Mark Emery hurt me, or bad things happened when I bought seeds from Mark Emery. The idea for my program was that I would, in 1994, I came up with this brilliant idea. I would sell cannabis seeds. We'd charge people a lot of money for them. They'd give us a lot of money, which they did indeed, $2 to $3 million a year. And then of that, all the profits would be given away to things that would subvert the U.S. democratic system and especially subvert the drug war, so that we would end prohibition. So every year from 1995 to 2005, I gave away about $500,000. $4 to $5 million in that period of time to groups in America, Canada, and around the world to basically participate in the democratic process and overgrow the government. That was our phrase, overgrow the government. So with all these seeds I would be selling, we'd have marijuana everywhere, running the government agents ragged. And at the same time, I'd be using the money to participate in the democratic system. So we sponsored worldwide global marijuana marches for 6 years at $35,000 a year. We paid for ballot initiatives in Washington, D.C., Arizona, Colorado, Alaska, class action suits against the U.S. federal government in Philadelphia and New York City. We paid for the Supreme Court challenge to the marijuana laws in Canada in 2003, about $85,000 there. So this money was being used all over the world to basically battle the drug war. And it was a great plan, and it was pretty well flawless, except that in 2002, the American drug czar, John Walters, came to Vancouver, and I was able to heckle him with other activists at a speech that drove him nuts. And so 3 days later, after that speech in November 2002, he had the Vancouver Police Department launch an investigation of me, and that didn't go anywhere, so they gave that file to the DEA, and that puts me in the crisis I'm in today, where I'm facing extradition for a life imprisonment without parole prison sentence for just sending these seeds over that invisible line to consenting adults in the U.S.
God damn, that was a lot to swallow. So Mark. Hey Mark. So, Emery Bin Tokin, what's the deal? Is pot legal in Canada?
I myself have been arrested 22 times for marijuana in Canada. I've been jailed on 17 occasions in 8 out of 10 provinces. I've been raided 6 times. I've had $1 million of my assets seized by police in various raids. So, these things can still go on in Canada, and they can still be very hurtful. What you won't end up doing in Canada is spending a long time in jail as a consequence of any conviction you get. So we have the same laws. We have forfeiture laws. You can lose your house. You can lose your business. I've certainly lost, like I say, $1 million in assets during raids. And in 2 of those raids, I wasn't even charged for anything, and they just took all my stuff. So that happens in the United States and it happens here. It's still risky here. But for the visitor, the tourist, who's just buying marijuana and wants to celebrate in our very tolerant community, you're going to have a great time and you won't see any of that.
And that about does it for this edition of It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine. To find out more about Mark Emery and his fight to stop his extradition, visit cannabisculture.com. For more information about where tobacco money goes, visit sourcewatch.org. To send me quitting smoking tips, email me, suckonatailpipe@submedia.tv. Hasta luego!
Remember, kids, you can podcast high-quality video of this show at submedia.tv.
This show was brought to you by Cameo Cream Sandwich Cookies. Cameo. Brown on the outside, white on the inside. Made by RJR Nabisco, makers of American Spirit Cancer Sticks.